You are listening to your new Puppies podcast, starting you and your dog off on the right paw. Here's your host, Debbie Salento.
Hello and welcome to episode 56 of your new Puppies podcast. I'm Debbie, and today I wanted to answer a question that I get a lot, and that's, what do you do when you have a working household? So what I mean by that is if all the adults, maybe it's just you, in the household work during the day outside the home. Now, if you're listening to this in real time, we are in the fall of 2020, which means that most of us are working from home, but not all of us, and hopefully that will be changing soon. Who knows? But regardless, I think this is really important to talk about because usually this question revolves around potty training. You know, if you have a full-time job, most likely you are out of the house longer than your puppy could ever possibly hold it. And I don't like using potty pads. I highly discourage using potty pads. So what do you do in those situations? My answer is we need to find a way to get your dog to have potty breaks during the day. Now, because regardless of them physically needing to get out and go to the bathroom, 8 hours is a long time for a puppy under the age of 6 months to be alone during the day. So this might mean hiring a professional pet sitter. And if your puppy is young, if they're under like 12 weeks old, they need to be let out every 3 hours at least. You might need 2 or 3 stop-bys during the day. Maybe it's a neighbor or a family member. Maybe the adults in the household work out a staggered schedule. And you may be thinking, well, wait, Deb, there are so many people out there with dogs that also work full-time. This can't be something that everybody does. Well, there could be a couple things going on there. Do they have a dog? Having a dog and working full-time is very different than having a puppy and working full-time. You know, everything I'm talking about here is temporary. And also, maybe they did have help. Maybe there was an adult in the household that did work from home or had the ability to work from home when the puppy was younger, or they had a neighbor or a family member that was able to help with the puppy. I mean, I think it's a great idea to ask, especially if you're looking for options. Maybe somebody's come up with a creative option in your area that we haven't thought of. Or maybe they have a recommendation for a pet sitter. But at the end of the day, it is temporary if you want it to be. But a puppy needs that kind of care, attention, and potty breaks. Because even if you decide not to listen to me and you do the potty pad thing, I've had clients do that. You know, that's still a long time for a puppy to be alone. And even once your puppy gets old enough, 6-8 months, now your puppy has a lot of energy and just needs to burn that. And for them to be alone all day long, that is going to completely fall on you in the mornings and the evening. I have a lot of clients who keep their pet sitters long after they need them for potty training reasons. Having somebody come in the middle of the day and giving them a walk, giving them attention, giving them a break during the day takes a lot of responsibility off of you. It gives you a little bit of relief. In the evenings, maybe you can sit for 2 seconds instead of having entertain an 8-month-old puppy or even the 12-week-old puppy. So again, I can still recommend getting some help to take that off of you, to take that responsibility they're still going to need exercise in the mornings and the evenings, but it can take some of that off of you. And again, if that's still not an option, or if you have a really high energy puppy, it might be a matter of getting up a half hour earlier in the mornings to get that extra, maybe fetch in the backyard or an extra walk or something. And then also in the evenings, especially when you have a puppy, they're going to monopolize those evenings for a while, if you're not home all day, because that time that you're not spending with them is going to get squished into the mornings and to the evenings. So just be prepared for that. And then there's also an option of, again, I know this is a cost of a daycare if it's in your area. Like this doesn't have to be a facility. It could be a pet sitter in your area that maybe does daycare in their home. That way there's less dogs, and some daycares won't even take a puppy if they're like less than 6 months. If they're getting that much exercise one day, it can sometimes carry into the next. So it kind of takes the edge off the next day. So in a perfect world, you could take your puppy to daycare Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that can kind of cover you for the week. You know, you can tire them out on Sundays, which takes the edge off on Mondays. They go to daycare on Tuesdays. You don't have to worry about them. That it also takes the edge off of Wednesdays and, etc. for the rest of the week. So at the end of the day, my recommendation is at the very least, you will need some kind of help or some kind of plan to get your puppy out during the day until they can physically hold it for the time that you're gone. And not only can physically hold it, but will hold it, because those are two different things. And that's where the crate comes in. Beyond that, I think it is a great benefit to both you and your puppy to continue to give him breaks during the day. But I also understand that's not always possible depending on what your situation is. Okay, so this might not have been the answer that you were looking for, but this is my recommendation for your puppy's development. Having a puppy is very different from having a dog. You'll get there. You'll get to that dog. But while they're a puppy, there are so many extra things, so much more time, so many more things that we have to consider and do. It's a lot. It's a lot of energy. And that's not lost on me. But I also know how stressful it can be to have a puppy. And sometimes that extra expense or effort, it will be so worth it to relieve a little bit of that burden from you while you're raising your puppy. And that is all I have for you today. If you are enjoying this podcast, you can rate and review it wherever you listen to your podcast, and that helps other dog owners find the podcast. If you want to continue training with me, you can check out my website, playtimepaws.com. I have in-person virtual sessions and also, of course, my 4-week new puppy course for new puppy owners. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be speaking with you soon. Bye for now.